on Ice presents Frozen and Encanto. In one exciting family experience, live in your hometown. Celebrate the power of love. Y Familia. In the show everyone will be talking about. Coming to Casey's Center November 27th through 30th. Tickets on sale now. Visit DisneyOnIce.com today.
Jake Brend and Derek Duke break down everything you need to know throughout the Big 12. This is Bigger Than 12, presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Bigger Than 12 on Iowa Everywhere.
Welcome to Bigger Than 12 here in the Channel Seed Studios. I'm Jake Brend, joined by the Duke, Derek Duke down in Texas. Happy Sunday afternoon. Congrats to your Texans.
Yeah, I was telling Aiden this before the show. This is I think the first time since 2014 that the Texans have beaten the Ravens. That's pretty sad. But hey,
way to make it negative. I congratulated you, complimented you, and you immediately made it a negative.
That I guess that's just who I am. But no, shout out, Xavier Hutchinson had a touchdown. Jalen Noel had a touchdown as well. So it was a great day for the Houston Cyclones. There you go.
Well, the reason I brought up something positive was because I'm in a bad mood, and you just
because that stupid jacket you're wearing.
Shut up. You just brought me back down to a bad mood. Drove 8 hours from Cincinnati this morning.
Didn't get shot, so that's good news.
Woke up at 6:30 a.m. bright and early, which was pretty much 5:30 a.m. because of the stupid Eastern time zone. Don't get me started on that time zone.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
How do they do that, man? I don't know. I was so glad for the first time in a long time last night that there wasn't a late Big 12 game, because I don't know if I would have been able to stay up. I was so tired.
I miss it. I was missing that late game last night because I'm so used to BYU or Utah or Arizona State playing late.
If I was at home, I would have been bummed. Yeah. I would have been bummed that we didn't get it. But I honestly, I was ready to get out of Cincinnati. Nothing against that city. Just when the team that I professionally cover loses, that I have some emotional investment in, it makes the trip a little bit worse. So forgive me if I'm a little feisty today.
No, you have every right to be.
Well, I was a little upset, and then I saw our pre-roll from Aiden about Bigger Than 12 with Jake, Brend, and Derek Duke, presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. And if you are watching on YouTube or on Spotify, and when WealthCharter pops up, there's just a boat riding in the sea. Yep. And I'm like, okay, one day I'll be at that age where I'm retired and I'm just chilling on a boat. And that can't happen unless I hit up my friends at WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. That can't happen for you unless you invest in your future. And that is the best spot to do it, at WealthCharter. I had my initial meeting with Tim Hawkins a couple weeks ago. I'm still working out some of my past financial stuffs to get that to him. And in a couple weeks, going to be on my way with a full financial and retirement plan with Tim Hawkins at his Ankeny office. I can speak from firsthand experience. He does great work. He's a great dude, and he's just another guy who's a part of this great Iowa community, and he loves what we do here at Iowa Everywhere, and we love what he does. So go and check out WealthCharter at wealthcharterretirement.com. We got a good show today. We'll talk about the Cincinnati-Iowa State game. Texas Tech has another Statement Road win. Chaos in Waco, a TCU comeback, BYU domination, a KU comeback, Arizona, just
full weekend.
Those
weekend.
Poor Cowboys. We'll have our random Big 12 quarterback Iowa trivia, our top 5 power rankings, and we'll close with some game picks. So a fully loaded Big 12 bigger than 12 coming your way, and we'll start out at Nippert Stadium. I was at this game. It was hot. It was so hot. I think I'm still reminding myself to drink water to rehydrate after this game. Cincinnati beats Iowa State 38-30 in a game that appeared to be a bloodbath for a while, and then Iowa State did make it a game, even if it wasn't necessarily a game. Derek, your thoughts watching this game from the couch?
I think from a Cincinnati perspective, as much as I've criticized Scott Satterfield, I think it's appropriate that we start our rundown by apologizing to the Bearcats because they have proved me wrong. Brendan Sorsby is emerging as one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12, and he's gaining national attention as well. If you notice on social media, they ran for over 200 yards against Iowa State, led by Evan Pryor, and they were the more physical team on Saturday up front. I think that's what really stood out to me on TV. Now, I think their defense isn't the best and has some serious flaws, but when they're rolling like that offensively, and especially like they were in the first half, they're going to be really tough to beat, and they can compete with just about anyone in the Big 12 with that offense of theirs. So I think it's safe to say after that win that they are a true Big 12 title contender, and I don't think there's any argument about that anymore.
I think what was so concerning and maybe even frustrating about that game for Iowa State is if you would have told me Brendan Sorsby's stat line, which wasn't great, he missed a lot of throws. He did not play that well. If you would have told me that, be like, oh man, Iowa State's going to roll in this game. And I was dead wrong. And this is a game that I'm going to guess John Haycock wishes he had back, because without Jontez Williams, without Jeremiah Cooper, what I think happened, what I saw, and Caleb Bacon even alluded to it a little bit post-game, I think they were compensating or trying to compensate for the new cornerbacks by dropping the safeties back in pass coverage. And that's not how Iowa State's defense has worked. It's not how they've had success. And what that resulted in was Cincinnati absolutely gashing Iowa State in the run game. Gashing. Those were some of the biggest holes that I've ever seen covering a Division I football game. It was massive. I could have scored a touchdown on a couple of those. You could have scored a touchdown or sprained your ankle at the 5.
Yeah, tore something, I'm sure.
One of the two.
Yeah.
And I think Haycock eventually adjusted, and that's how you saw Iowa State hold Cincy to just a touchdown in the second half, but it was way too late. And again, I think Cincinnati deserves credit. They had a really good game plan because I think they probably expected Iowa State to try and compensate for the loss of Cooper and Williams, and what they do, they said, nope, let's counterpunch. Let's just run it right down their throat at the start. And that ended up being genius, and that's why they won the game, and that's why they got probably their biggest signature win since they joined the Big 12.
Yeah, I know we normally kind of flipping it over. I know we normally crack one for the Clones, but after a game like that, I guess I'll pour one out for the Clones with the help here of course, of Steeple Ridge. But Jake, you were there, boots on the ground in the first half, and that had to be so hard to watch in person in the first half. I can only imagine. It's hot outside. You're having to deal with that.
Just go watch the Cyclone Fanatic halftime show. I
could tell.
I was not in a good headspace, but again, I'm a professional, so I was doing my job and I was giving my analysis. But so that leads me into my carbless, refreshing take. Carbless, it is so refreshing. They're premium handcrafted cocktails. Cranberry, grape, pineapple, mango. They've even got the tequila. It's so good. I love a good carbless. And today my refreshing take actually involves the Cyclones, which you probably didn't expect that when I said that it'd be in this game.
Did not.
So we'll ignore the moral victory stuff, the fight. I know it's cliche, blah, blah, blah. We could have quit and we didn't. I think Matt Campbell through 10 years has proven that. Like his teams, even if it looks bad, they don't quit. That's not what I'm going to focus on. What I'm going to focus on is what I was just talking about. And it's Iowa State changing their defense at the start really hurt the team. And John Haycock, I'm guessing, is kicking himself, and he wants that back. I think the rest of the way, David Coffey, Trey Bell, Quentin Taylor Jr., I think they proved themselves as competent corners. Are they John Tez and Jeremiah Cooper? No, that's going to be impossible to fill those shoes. But I think they proved that they're good enough that Iowa State can continue to play their base defense and not have to overcompensate to help them out. And what we saw from them in the second half, in a weird way, I wouldn't say it makes me feel great heading the rest of the way for the season, but it makes me feel like the defense doesn't change a ton. They might drop from top 20 to top 40, but they still have to focus on stopping the run just like they did before. And they have to do what the safeties always do, and that's come up and run coverage and stop the run. Was the defensive line good? No. They were horrible. Maybe the worst defensive line performance I've seen out of a John Haycock coach team maybe ever at Iowa State, and that's got to get better, so it's not all sunshine and rainbows. But I think if they go back to the base defense, like Caleb Bacon alluded to in the second half, I think they could be okay the rest of the way. And the flip side, we'll call it the last sip of my carbless, is Kyle Conrarty changes this game if they have him. And I don't know the status on Conrarty. 4 to 6 weeks is what we were told a couple weeks ago. That would maybe line up to be back for the BYU game. So if you can survive the Colorado game without him and get him back for BYU, then I think that changes the team again, but we'll see. We have no idea if he'll actually be back for that game or not.
Yeah, not having a kicker, and we kind of were texting this in the group chat, it changes a lot of your decisions offensively.
12 points.
Exactly, because there's a certain time where it's fourth and a full yard. They decide to do the QB sneak, and I wasn't a fan of the call. I didn't mind them going for it in that spot, but when you have a kicker like Conrarty, you're going to kick that 9 times out of 10 and take the 3 points, but they weren't able to do that. So it does change a lot of your decisions as a play caller and as a head coach. So I don't really have any issue with that, and there's nothing you could do to change that or take that back. You're still going to have to go for it in certain situations that you probably wouldn't. I think the biggest thing for me defensively was, yeah, it was different. But at the same time, I thought the tackling and the effort were just so poor in the first half. And I don't care what kind of defense you're playing, what you're rolling out there. What I saw in the first half was just inexcusable, flat out. 100%, it was not good. The effort wasn't there. It felt like they were just kind of throwing their body around, kind of doing some arm tackling. So not something I'm used to seeing under Coach John Haycock, but it did get better in the second half. And then as the defense got better, it felt like the offense just kind of got worse as the game went on. And, you know, the big hit with Rocco, that certainly, I think, changed things. I don't think he played his best game by any means, although the stat sheet, it's going to say he's going to had one of his better games of the season.
Yeah,
but overall,
he played well. Well is how I would describe it, but not. It wasn't his best game of the year.
No,
or anywhere close.
He missed some throws that he would normally make, and I wonder if that hit did affect him. So I don't know. It just felt like there was no point in this game where the offense and the defense were kind of gelling and playing well together. So when the offense was playing okay, the defense wasn't, and so forth the other way around. But I don't know. It was a lot to overcome. Iowa State didn't play their best game. I don't think they deserved to win that game, although it was close towards the end.
Completely agree.
So it was an unfortunate day in Cincinnati.
I do want to give a shout out to Cincinnati fans. That was a great environment. It reminded me of a basketball game because it is a smaller stadium. It's only 40,000 people, but the seats are so narrow. And the field is almost built into the ground. So even though it's not a ton of people, it was really loud, and they were an engaged crowd. So I gotta give them credit. They did have. So when it'd be third down, the PA announcer would say, "Bearcat Nation, get up, it's third down." Presented by Ford. Every single time.
Got to get that money in.
I was dying. I just thought that was the funniest thing. And maybe it was just because I was delirious of being in the 95-degree heat or what it felt like. Or maybe it was because the soles of my shoes were burning at the bottom. But I just 100% got a kick out of it is third down, the biggest play of the game. Presented by Ford. Thanks to Ford.
I would just get a business with some stupid long name and just make him say that every time on their down, just to piss him off.
It is Cyclone Nation, get on your feet. It is third down. Presented by the Kaburski Brothers Lawn Care, which leads into the Kaburski Brother Lawn Care, who is sponsoring us here at Iowa Everywhere. They have taken care of so many Iowa Everywhere personalities' yards, including Andy Fales, Chris Williams, and I can speak from seeing Williams' yard. They do a dang good job at Kaburski Brothers. So if you are unhappy with your own lawn care, just call the Kaburskis to get on their list for next year. It's the best investment you can make for your lawn. It'll help with your time. It'll help make your yard look better, and it'll pay you off in the long run. You're not gonna have to replace your grass as much as if you're trying to do it yourself. And that they do it all, aeration seeding. It's pretty much a reset button for a bad lawn, for a patchy lawn. So hit up the Kaburski Brothers Lawn Care and Landscaping, as they'll bring your lawn to life. Thanks to the Kaburski Brothers for sponsoring an Iowa State third down. Jokes aside, thanks to the Kaburski Brothers for sponsoring what we do here at Iowa Everywhere. Texas Tech goes on the road. Somehow this was their first game since their win over Utah, which feels like a month ago. It was only 2 weeks ago. More of the same, though. The score probably doesn't even indicate how much of a blowout this game was. Tech dominated. They settled for some field goals early, but they did to Houston what we expected them to. They looked like the best, most talented team in the Big 12, and Houston looked kind of what we thought. An average team with a really good coach.
Yeah, total domination there, and congrats to Houston for the sellout crowd, but they should be thanking Texas Tech fans for selling that place out. There were tortillas flying everywhere. I don't know if you could see it on TV. They were just everywhere. For me, this game showed the country on national television that Texas Tech is the best team in the Big 12. They flexed their muscles, and their defense, I thought, absolutely dominated Houston from start to finish. Hold them to 11 points, 267 yards of offense. And just look at the third downs. That's one thing that really stood out to me. Houston went 1 for 11 on third down. Just a total ass-kicking by Texas Tech. And then I thought offensively they moved the ball with ease. The run game took off over 200 yards. Barrett Morton came back. I didn't know if he was going to play the entire game. I was a little surprised we didn't see Will Hammond there, but I thought Morton looked in control of the offense. I think the only complaint you could say about Tech in that game was their red zone woes. They attempted 7 field goals in the game, and I believe 5 of them came from inside the 20-yard line. So if not for that, Texas Tech may have won this game by 40+. And the biggest takeaway I have for me is what's crazy is that Texas Tech, I don't think they played their best game. And this is the second week on the road, or second game in a row on the road, where they didn't play their best game, and they still won by 20+ points. So it just goes to show you how good this team is, even when they aren't playing their best football.
I don't think they played their best game against Utah either. People forget that game was close into the fourth quarter, and then Tech really stepped on the gas and pulled away. So I'm with you. I don't want to know what it looks like for Texas Tech to play their best game. I hope that's when it's in the college football playoff and they've got a chance to go against a high-level SEC or Big Ten program. That'd be ideally when we see Tech play their best, but off of a bye, a weird road game at a place that's not an insanely tough place to play, Barrett Morton coming back from injury, it makes sense why they weren't extremely sharp in the red zone. And I mean, we'll get to it in our picks coming up in a bit, but they've got Kansas coming to town, and that Jayhawk defense is reeling. So that'll be a really good opportunity for Tech to maybe make another statement win, because they're getting to the point. I'm so sick of hearing about it. Yeah, their non-con was Pine Bluff, Kent State, Oregon State. Not impressive. They just went on the road, won by 24 at Utah, then won by 24 at Houston. Eventually, their results speak for themselves. Good teams typically don't win back-to-back games on the road by 24 points. That's typically the sign of a great team. And Tech right now has all the makings of an elite-level college football team, not just an elite-level Big 12 team.
Agreed, 100%. I think they're just in a class by themselves in the Big 12 right now.
I guess we'll just have to see in the power rankings coming up. I know it might be tough for them to dethrone Central Florida for you, but we'll see. We got some chaos in Waco. Full disclosure, I watched none of this game live, so this is probably the game I've got the most heated opinions on because I rewatched it the second before we recorded. So this is fresh in my mind, and I was watching the game when it was 31-17. And trust me, I know the result in my head. I'm like, Baylor wins this game?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Because I knew there was a blocked field goal at the end, but I was mostly watching this game blind. I saw the Michael Trigg crazy one-handed grab, but this is a game that is a devastating hit to a K-State program that has seemingly taken more hits than Rocky in Rocky IV. And somehow Rocky made it through to the 15th round. I don't know if Kansas State can sustain another hit like this. And they are my Who Needs a Fix presented by Freedom Tire. They need to go hit up Quentin Crowder and his team for a full inspection of their car. Anything that's wrong, anything and everything, just replace it. I'm not saying fire the staff, but everyone on that staff, everyone in that program needs to look themselves up and down all the way through like you are doing a full car inspection and change whatever is wrong, because they had no business losing that game. Absolutely no business. Whether it's special teams letting them down, a bad punt, a blocked kick, whether it is Avery Johnson, who I thought played his best game of the season, but threw a pick six when you just absolutely cannot throw a pick six. Not that you can ever throw a pick six, but there's a pick six when you're trailing and you're playing desperate and you're trying to get back in the game, and there's a pick six when you're in the driver's seat, and all you need to do to win the game is don't throw a pick six. The defense let him down. I'm not making fun of K-State. I pity them. I feel awful for their fans. I can't even imagine how I would be acting right now if I was in their shoes. They really, really need a fix, and fast.
Yeah, you described this one as chaos, and I think that's exactly what it was. It's crazy to me that I believe this was the only game on ESPN Plus, because a few weeks ago I would have said that this would have been a primetime game on ESPN, but shit's happened since then. But yeah, when you're watching this game, Kansas State goes into the fourth quarter with a 31-17 lead, give up a score, make it a 6-point game, and then you have the offense driving the ball, as you said, and they were chewing up clock on that drive, and they're in Baylor territory, less than 5 minutes to go, and then on first down, they decide to throw the football, and then they call a passing play, and it gets picked off and goes the other way. I didn't understand the call for Matt Wells. Like, why not just keep chewing the clock up and running the football? They were running it just fine, and they decided to get cute with the play calling, and it cost them their lead. And it was frustrating. It had to be frustrating because they were running the ball so well. And then from there, all chaos, trading field goals. Kansas State has a chance to win the game with a kick. It gets blocked. So kind of a fitting way for Kansas State to drop yet another game. So they're now 2-4 on the season, 1-2 in Big 12 play. And it feels like the season's already over, and it's the first weekend. We just got through the first weekend of October. And that's a good win for Baylor to keep their Big 12 hopes alive. And what a comeback. But to me, this is all about Kansas State and the disappointment that they have been. And Aiden, can we pull up the rest of Kansas State's schedule here? Looking at it, they're 2-4.
Oof.
TCU,
Oof.
at Kansas,
Oof.
Texas Tech,
Oh, man.
at Oklahoma State, which that should be an easy win, at Utah, and then Colorado. Does anybody out there see 4 more wins for this team to get to a bowl game?
No.
I don't think so either. And that's what really caught me by surprise when I started looking at the rest of their schedule. So it's brutal.
They are in deep trouble. And I never thought after their start to the season that, yes, they can get back into Big 12 title contention. But I think their roster is still the roster that I thought it was. I think they're a really talented team with a lot of proven players at the Big 12 level. And I thought, you know what? You completely reset the clock. Yes, you're 0-1 in Big 12 play with the loss to Iowa State, but you can build off that win against UCF, and if you go into Waco and pick up a win like that, Yeah, they're not dead yet. They might not be able to win the Big 12. They might not be able to get to Arlington with that type of schedule, but they can rally this season and build some momentum into next year where they're going to have a senior class, the junior class now, that's one of the most coveted in Kansas State history. And all of that changes with that loss. That is a back-breaking loss that ruins really any optimism that you can have for the rest of the year. And that's not a fun spot to be for a fan. That's not a fun spot to be for a coach. That's not a fun spot to be as a player. They are in deep, deep trouble. And the climate hot seat talks, I'm not going to lead them. I'm not going to participate in them. But amongst that fan base, they're going to keep getting louder and louder, especially if their streak to Kansas ends. Who knows? If they lose ugly to Texas Tech, things could get rough in Manhattan.
If they don't go to a bowl game, I think there's a shot that maybe they let them go. I mean, when I look at that schedule, I see 5-7. Mm-hmm. That's what I see. I see a 5-7 team. That might be being generous, but I just don't see a way for them to get to a bowl game at this point. And that's crazy considering both of us had them going to Jerry World at the beginning of the year.
Well, Kansas State hit up Freedom Tire locations in Ames, Altoona, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. It's a short trip from Manhattan, and you'll be glad you did it. But if you're in central Iowa, Freedom Tire should be the spot you take your vehicles. TCU comes back after a 14-0 deficit. I was out to dinner with Ben Hutchins, Rob Gray, Alec Bussey following our work yesterday in Cincinnati, and this game wasn't on at the place we were at, and I checked my phone. I'm like, well, what? 14-0? So Colorado blows a 14-0 lead for the second week in a row, and I think they've got a lot of problems that I don't know can be fixed this year.
Yeah, and for me, it was a lot like the Kansas UCF game. Started out slow, Colorado goes up by 2 scores, and then all of a sudden TCU wakes up, but I think TCU should be thanking Colorado because they made the mistakes to get them right back in it. And
4 turnovers.
The 4 turnovers. And I'll give credit to Josh Hoover. Didn't throw for a ton of yards, but ended up with 4 passing touchdowns. And this game was close, and I think where it was won was in the fourth quarter where TCU outscored Colorado 21-7. So I don't think TCU even played their best game by any means, but when you have a guy like Josh Hoover at quarterback, you have a chance even when you're down a few scores. But again, another tough loss for Colorado. Last week against BYU, they were right in it. They give up the early lead, and then in the fourth quarter, they still have a chance to go win the game. And it was the same story on Saturday. The defense held up for about, 20 minutes of the game, and then the mistakes started piling on. Caden Salter, once again, made way too many mistakes. And don't get me wrong, he made some plays for Colorado to give him that lead, but he also just made some boneheaded interceptions, 3 picks on the day. So we've yet to see him put it all together without those mistakes, and I think the talent is there for Salter, but they have to find a way to limit his mistakes because you can't turn the ball over 4 times on the road and expect to win games.
He's the type of quarterback that at the end of the year, he's going to have a really electric YouTube 12-minute highlight tape because he's got some plays out there where you're thinking, man, the guy's an incredible athlete. He is a playmaker. But pretty much every game this year, he's had some moment where you're thinking, what is this guy seeing? What is he doing? And I think I've gone back to this Georgia Tech game, every single week this year when we talk about Colorado. That was a game they should have won comfortably because Georgia Tech handed them the ball 3 different times in their own red zone, in their own territory. They weren't able to take advantage of that. A lot of that Salter, and maybe some of that is lacking maturity at this level. I know he had some really good moments, some good years at Liberty, and hasn't shown it. I just haven't seen it consistently enough at the Big 12 yet to buy into it.
Yeah, and again, I think the talent's there. It's just they've got to find a way to stop getting him to make these mistakes because they're back-breaking mistakes. And you're right. I mean, we could be sitting here talking about Colorado with two extra wins in Big 12 play where they beat BYU, they beat TCU, and then all of a sudden you're talking about them like they're a legitimate Big 12 title contender. Yeah,
and they're no slight. I know Iowa State plays them next week, and TCU, I think every team can kind of be spotted one or two of these games where they don't play great, but they still were able to come out of there with a win. And I think that's impressive, especially when you consider how they lost their last time out against Arizona State. That was a brutal loss when they were up 17-0. So the sleepy start makes sense, and it's encouraging that they were able to overcome that and live to fight another day to stay in the hunt for Arlington. BYU, I don't have a ton to say about this game. I know you've got your refreshing take powered by Carbless. BYU overpowers West Virginia at home despite a backdoor cover by the Mountaineers.
Nobody was shocked at BYU winning this game. So the fact that I think it was a little closer than I thought it would be was a little bit surprising, because BYU did make some mistakes in this game with their 3 turnovers, and I think that's the only reason why West Virginia scored 24 points in this one. But yeah, my focus for my Carbless refreshing take of the week is going to be BYU's offense. Typically, BYU is a run the ball, control the clock kind of offense, which is fine when it's done well. But what I saw on Friday night was an offense that wasn't afraid to air it out. I mean, Bear Brockmeyer had a career day through the air with 351 passing yards.
He was heaving it.
He was chucking the ball everywhere. And when he's throwing to guys like Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston, it's going to make his job a lot easier. I think BYU, yes, they made some mistakes, but they showed the country that they can throw the football well. And if they can do that, I think it brings a whole new wrinkle to this offense that we have not seen in years from BYU. And when you look at this team now across the board, they can do pretty much everything well, from playing great defense, special teams, and offensively, they've now shown that they can not only run the football, but air it out as well. So I think without a doubt, they are a legitimate Big 12 title contender, and a kind of a scary team that I feel like nobody's really talking about in the conference.
Yeah, I think we're having deja vu to last year.
For sure.
Because it was, BYU, they eke out this game they probably didn't deserve to win, or against this team that's better than them. And then when you do that 8 times, 9 times, you start thinking, well, maybe they are that good. And I think we're doing the same thing this year. It's, they're smoking teams, but they don't have Jake Retzloff. All right, here's a real test. Now they get to go to East Carolina. They're only 6.5-point favorites. They win the game by 3 scores. Okay, let's see it in Big 12 play. They go to Colorado, a team that we don't think is great. They're down 14-0, eke out a win. West Virginia, not an impressive win. They did it in impressive fashion, like you said. Now, another test. They get to go to Arizona, and I cannot wait for this game. I still think we don't know enough about BYU, and I think that's unfair to them. Let me get in front of that and say they deserve respect, and they deserve to be taken seriously, but the human element from my end is I just need to see them against a team that I think is good. And is Arizona good? I don't know. Who knows these days? But I'm excited to watch them play in an environment against Arizona. And then after that, man, it's I believe, it's Utah after that. It's Utah, Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU in a 4-game span. So if we don't find out this week against Arizona, we're certainly going to find out after that. And I'm with you. I think they're legit. I think they do everything well. Just like last year, the quarterback is just different, and we'll see if they're able to have the same success in 1-score games as they did last year, because I'm sure we're going to find out that question in the next 5 weeks.
I think they actually may have upgraded at quarterback with Bear. That's just my honest opinion through the first few games. I like what I see from him as a passer. He's a freshman. He's going to make some mistakes. He's not a veteran quarterback, and he probably will cost them a game or two down the road, but I still think he's an upgrade from what I've seen over the last few years for them. And
sorry, I ended their tough schedule with a game against TCU. They then go to Cincinnati the week after. So their next 6 games, if they make it through that and they're still in the Big 12 title hunt, then they are legit, because that's as tough of a stretch as you'll find in this entire conference.
I think that's why both of us were a little bit hesitant to put them in our top 10 this year, just because that schedule was so brutal.
Yeah, it was certainly part of it was I didn't think their 1-score luck would continue. luck's not the right word. Their one-score success and the Retzlaff thing and the schedule. So we know the Retzlaff thing isn't as big of a deal as we thought. I guess we'll see. We'll see how big of a deal it is and maybe how big of an upgrade Bachmeier is in this next 6-game stretch. And I'm excited to see it. Up next, Kansas goes on the road and upsets the Central Florida Golden Knights. They trailed early. They got run over in the first half, and Kansas landslide pulled. They find a way to get stops down the stretch, and they pick up an important win over Central Florida.
God, those Kansas helmets are just so awful with the giant beak on them. That's the first thing that jumps out to me, and I know it shouldn't, but they're just so bad. But yeah, I was a little worried about Kansas in that game. Go down early, 14-0, the bounce house. It's a night game, a blackout game for UCF, so that's a tough environment to play. But I guess, I don't know if that just slapped them in the face to wake up or what, but after that point, I thought they played extremely well. It started with, back-to-back touchdown drives in the second quarter, led by Daniels, that were like 9 and 10, 11-play drives. And I know the weather conditions weren't ideal for either offense due to the rain. And hell, I mean, half the time I couldn't even see the game because the camera was wet on the ESPN2 broadcast. But really, it was the Kansas defense who sealed the deal. They were able to shut out UCF in the second half. They got the goal line stop late in the game. Yep. And then when the game was on the line again, even later than that, I mean, they got the game-winning stop. So, and we've been waiting for Kansas to win a close game like that because you think back to the Missouri game and the Cincinnati game, the defense folded, and this time they came up big and helped win the game. So looking for UCF here on the flip side, they're going to be my freedom tire who needs a fix. Taven Jackson got hurt once again in that game. That was really tough to see. Cam Fancher had to fill in, but the offense just could not move the ball with him. And that's an offense to me that just has no threat of a passing game whatsoever. And they're going to struggle to win games because I think defense and running the football is only going to take you so far. Now, I do think their defense is actually it's respectable. I don't think it's a bad defense by any means. With Miles Montgomery running the football, I think they have the talent to run the football. But I feel like for the last 3 years now, since they've joined the conference, there's just no threat of a passing attack from this offense. And until that changes, this is a program that's going to continue to struggle until they find the right guy at quarterback or they find some receivers to help them out.
Yeah, they feel similar to Iowa to me.
Yep.
It's
a good comparison.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? Do they have bad wide receivers or do they have wide receivers that aren't able to get the ball because the passing game is so far behind? And usually that answer is somewhere in the middle, and I'm guessing that's a problem that'll be addressed this year. And that's as often as I make fun of Central Florida and poke fun, they're in year one of a rebuild. So their defense is in a much better spot than I thought it'd be, and that's a good sign going forward. Scott Frost is just going to have his work cut out for him in the offseason to get some playmakers on the outside. Think about Cincinnati last year. That was our number one complaint about Cincinnati is who in the world is going to make plays. Sorsby's a good quarterback, but he has no one to throw to. What they do this year, they went out and spent money and got 3 legit dudes at wide receiver, and it's turned them around from a very mediocre Big 12 team to a potential title contender. I think we'll see something similar with Central Florida heading into the offseason, and they just got to go find playmakers.
Yep, for sure.
And then the final game, it's going to be our annual Bigger Than 12 tradition of how can we spend less than 2 minutes on whatever team Oklahoma State loses to, and that was the case again in a 41-13 loss to Arizona. The Cowboys. The Cowboys, quarterback Zane Flores goes down, so they ended up going to Samuel Jackson from Pulp Fiction. He didn't really have it much. They also tried out Banks Bowen. That's my analysis of another Oklahoma State blowout.
I will say 2 things. Number one, those helmets for Arizona, they should wear those.
Those are
every
sick.
They're so awesome. I love those. But It was the Noah Fafita show in Tucson, 376 yards, 5 touchdowns, I think, in the first 3 quarters of that game. So he carried the offense. But even when they didn't have much of a run game, but they didn't need to when Fafita was airing it out like that. But it was a big bounce-back win for Arizona. And I guess if you're looking for a bounce-back win, you want to play a team like Oklahoma State. And, yeah, speaking of the Cowboys, I mean, just more problems coming on. Flores goes down in that game. And you mentioned Sam Jackson. He's actually a wide receiver taking snaps at quarterback. So I'm not really sure what the game plan is for Oklahoma State moving forward. But, yeah, my advice for a Cowboys fan would be just get shit-faced before every game. I mean, they can't do anything right.
I saw a really funny tweet, and it was an Oklahoma State fan that just said, Kansas, how did you do this for 13 years? And a KU fan responded and said, well, it was a little easier when the basketball team was making deep runs in March every single year. My recommendation to you would start drinking.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
I feel so bad for Oklahoma State fans. Ben Hutchins, one of my good friends, he's an Oklahoma State fan, Oklahoma State grad, and they're in a rough spot. So we hope that their department, their football program can recover in a timely fashion. But that will not be happening in the year 2025.
They had 158 total yards of offense in that game, and their defense was just as bad. So it's so hard to watch week in and week out. But I will say TNT does a very good job on their broadcast. I've been very impressed with their slates aren't the best for the game picks, but their broadcast quality and everything I thought's been outstanding.
They got to sign an amendment to this contract. Please never give us Oklahoma State again.
Exactly, for sure. They need it.
Is there a TNT Plus? Maybe they can broadcast Oklahoma State games. Do you remember the network Versus?
I do.
Maybe Oklahoma State. Maybe that should be the official channel of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Put that on Versus. Maybe 10% of America gets that on their TV. That's probably where it belongs.
I was going to say like ESPN 8 the Ocho, but I think I might rather watch like Cornhole or whatever than watching Oklahoma
Maybe
State
they should
play
bury it
football
on the golf channel or the tennis channel or something.
Yeah. I don't know. There'd probably be some pissed off old people with that, but I'm not going to get into golf talk.
Well, we'll bring in Aiden Wyatt for the random Big 12 quarterback. Esteemed
I don't know about you guys,
Wyatt.
but I'm looking forward to watching Oklahoma State games at my local gas station while filling up.
There you
those
go.
little TVs.
Yeah, that's where the Pac-12 was going to play.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, this week's quarterback spent 5 years in college, 2 schools. One of them we might be really familiar with. Just one of the schools. Then the other one was in the Big 12, to be clear. In his 5 years, he only started 12 games as he backed up one of the all-time quarterbacks in the history of football. It's a big hint right there. Threw for just over 4,000 yards and went 5-7 in his one full season as starter.
So he played for 2 Big 12 schools?
Just one Big
one.
12 school. Yeah.
And he was a backup to a legend?
Yep. And in that span, the team won 4 games, 7 games, 5 games, and 6 games.
I think I know the team. I'm going to really struggle to find the man.
We might have to tag team it. We tag teamed it last week because I'm drawing a blank here. I don't know. I feel like those are pretty broad hints, Aiden. You're making this shit harder.
That's the point.
I know. Jake,
legend tells me it'd be whoever backed up Patrick Mahomes and probably took the job after him.
Oh.
And
I know who it is.
I'm blanking on what quarterback.
Oh my gosh. Did he play at Cal afterwards?
Nope. No.
Dang it. I was thinking it was Davis Webb.
Oh,
Texas Tech was his last stop.
Texas Tech was his last stop. Okay.
Yep. So he spent 1 year at a Big Ten school.
A current Big Ten school or a?
Yep.
The only one I could no, because he played. I was thinking, well, Tyler Show. He did not show because he played for like 3 schools. Ended at Texas Tech. God, they've had a few quarterbacks. Was it during the Matt? See, I don't even know what it would have been.
Shimanek?
Yeah.
Holy
Nick
crap.
Shimanek.
Nick Shimanek. Oh, my God.
Yep. Yeah.
Is that 2016, right?
That'd be
2017
right?
is when he started. 12
he started
games.
the.
Yep.
Holy
he
shit.
He threw a pick 6 to Marcel Spears in 2017.
Holy crap. Is the game you have on right there? That's from 17, right, Aiden?
Look at
Yeah,
the one as
far as I know.
That was actually the first time I went to Lubbock. I was actually at that game.
Really?
There you go.
That was the first time I ever went to Lubbock for a football game. Was at that game. That was Mason Rudolph's last year, Oklahoma State. Like that game, Oklahoma State. I want to say they had 2 field goals go off the upright, and it was. I thought they were going to lose, but they ended up winning that game at the end. That was a crazy. I remember that game.
So he spent 2013 redshirting at the University of Iowa.
What?
Holy shit!
Yeah.
The one that got away.
The one that got away.
He could have been starting, I guess. The time that he was at Texas Tech was arguably the golden era for Iowa quarterbacks of the last decade. When they go from C.J. Beathard to Nate Stanley, I forgot
about him.
I'm going to guess he probably would have been about on par with Nate Stanley, or maybe a little better, but I had no idea that he started out at the University of Iowa. That hint now makes a lot more sense. The reason my mind immediately went to Texas Tech was I thought Aiden was making a joke about like the 2016 game against the 66-10.
Oh.
Because obviously Mahomes didn't finish that game. So I was trying to remember who finished that game. I remember that game like it was yesterday.
Thanks for doing your due diligence there. Glad we mentioned that game.
I think I was a year early because I think when I said Davis Webb played at Cal in 16. He left because of Patrick Mahomes. I think that's why I got a little confused there. But that was a good pull.
Yeah, good question, Aiden. So now we'll start with our Big 12 top 5 power rankings. I'm gonna be interested to see how similar our orders are. I know we were just one spot off last week.
Yeah.
I'll start this week. I'm going Texas Tech 1, no movement there. And then I'm going to keep I'm going to move BYU up a spot. Arizona State will move up. Cincinnati will move up. And then I was down to TCU, Iowa State, Utah. I'm still going to lean TCU. They got another win this weekend. But I'm going to be honest, it was a really tough decision between those 3.
Yeah, we're pretty close. We're a little bit actually more different, I think, this week than we were last week. So I've got Texas Tech at 1.
Well, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
Are we having a good time?
We are having a great time.
Looking for a good time? Thought so. Whiskey River is just the place. We've got the booze, the food, the vibe, and the amazing rooftop patio. The only thing missing is you. Whiskey River.
I mentioned at the start of the show how I was having a bad time because of the drive to Cincinnati, Iowa State's loss, not so great Airbnb experience, that I totally forgot to have a good time at Whiskey River before our power rankings. So our Big 12 power rankings are sponsored by Whiskey River, where they've got nothing but good times. Maybe I should go there tonight, have a cold beer, a delicious burger, watch Sunday Night Football, and just get rid of all the bad vibes from this weekend. In all seriousness, thanks to Whiskey River locations in Ankeny and Ames. Sorry I cut you off, Derek.
No.
But it was important to have a good time. So bring us your top 5.
I like how when you said that, too, I immediately knew what you were talking about, too, if you asked, so I want to have a good time. But, yeah, Texas Tech at 1, I think that's just everybody across the board would have Tech at 1. I've still got Arizona State at 2, even though they didn't play this weekend. BYU jumps up a couple spots for me. I know their win over West Virginia didn't mean much, but with Iowa State coming out of my top 5, I put BYU up there. TCU moving up a spot at number 4. I thought their win over Colorado was a good one. And Cincinnati entering my top 5 for the first time this season. I think with their win over Iowa State, I think they are a real Big 12 title contender, so I've got to put them at number 5 for me.
Yeah, the way I do power rankings, it's the opposite of how the AP poll or stuff like that should work. Mine is legitimately, what have you done for me lately? And you can't really, in my opinion, you can't really lose a spot by winning or by being on a bye week, but you can certainly jump somebody with an impressive win. So what Cincinnati did in my eyes, that was enough to jump them from 7 or 8 where I had them up to 4. But we're pretty similar. We've got the same 5, just a bit of a different order.
For sure.
Now we'll do the Iowa trivia question. We'll see if we can get this one right. We dropped the ball last week in Ballsack City.
With the popcorn ball.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get this, but...
Wow, confident.
The world's largest Cheeto resides in Algona, Iowa. How much does it weigh?
What's up with the weighing things, Aiden? This is the second week in a row where you asked me what something weighs. Like,
I didn't know they're the world's largest Cheeto up there.
Yeah.
First off, Cheetos aren't even made in Iowa.
No, this is a total fraud stat. It was it was found in Hawaii, and then someone in Iowa bought it.
Because
it does reside in Iowa.
I think Cheetos made actually here in San Antonio, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that, but dude, I don't know. Is it like 1,500 pounds? Brian, I'm
gonna go 3,200 pounds.
Jesus Christ,
we're probably. I think we're both thinking of like the statue, but if somebody bought it personally, I bet it's like 50 pounds or something.
3/5 of an ounce.
Oh, is that a real Cheeto?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is not like a man-made Cheeto.
I thought
it was found in a bag.
I thought it was like a sculpture.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was a sculpture or something, or a statue of a
Sorry,
Cheeto.
I should have clarified a little bit after last week, but
you
guys were collectively about 4,500 pounds off.
What we just did was what Iowa State's defense did yesterday. We missed so bad on the popcorn ball because we were so under, like we were both 1,000 pounds short, that we overcorrected to be like, all right, well, if we're going to miss it, we're going to miss it long. We're not going to miss it short. And we overshot it by about 5,000 pounds.
Honestly, if Oklahoma State were a pile of shit, it would look exactly like that. It would look exactly like that little Cheeto. Oh, Jesus.
I don't even want to know what this sick bastard paid.
Yeah, how much did he pay for that?
Okay, so here's full rundown.
I'm terrified to find out how much this guy paid for this Cheeto.
So it was put on eBay, and the bidding reached over $1 million before the guy shut down the auction.
Jesus.
Why'd he shut down the auction?
I don't know, but he just decided to give it to a local DJ, Bryce Wilson, after he started a campaign to get the Cheeto to Iowa. He just gave it to him.
This sounds like some sort of money laundering.
Yeah, that just sounds weird. That's all off.
Also, to put it in perspective, a typical bag of Cheetos, which is around 40, weighs 2 1/8 ounces.
Not a big Cheeto guy.
Me neither.
Hot Cheetos are all right, but regular Cheetos, they're trash.
I'll be looking forward to next week's trivia question that doesn't involve the weight of popcorn or Cheetos.
It'll be the weight of something else.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it will be the weight of something else.
Man.
He's going to go like the...
Aiden just broke my brain. Whiskey River fixed my bad day.
It's Halloween, so we could do like the world's largest dot. That'd be fun.
I'm just going to ignore that. Let's move on to the Big 12 Survivor. It was a good day for the survivors because there was only 4 losers this week.
Wow. Everybody wrote Arizona, didn't they?
Not everybody. It was about half. There's
Or
a couple.
BYU.
There's a couple that were in jeopardy, like TCU. There was about 20 people that picked TCU. We did have 20 people who didn't submit their form, so I guess we had 24 people not make the cut. But we had 3 people choose Iowa State, and 1 brave soul chose Central Florida. But other than that, 185 people move on to the next week. If you were one of those 185, I have sent an email from the biggerthan12 at iowaeverywhere.com email. Be sure to check your inbox for that. The form, as you listen to this, will be with you, so be sure to get that in by Thursday night. Derek, you chose Arizona as well, right? Yep, we both did. So Oklahoma State, I believe, is on a bye in a couple weeks. They are...
Can't ride those picks again.
Oh, man, they don't have a bye for a while. They don't have a bye till November 8th.
Can you pick the bye week to beat Oklahoma State?
Yeah, that'd be a win.
So
That's true.
Oklahoma State doesn't have a bye until November 8th.
Well,
so there's going to be a lot of people riding them until then. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
By the way, if for whatever reason there's a tie, this is last man standing. So I think what we'll do if there's a tie is we'll kind of go into bull pick'em season. So say there's 6 people left. We'll just start with the first Big 12 bowl game. If Houston's playing Cal in the guaranteed rate bowl, then it's just choose Houston or Cal, and then we'll kind of go until last man standing. That's how that'll work.
That might be tougher than the Survivor we're doing, actually, with the bowl picks.
Well, that's the point. I don't think there's going to be a ton of people that make it towards the end of the regular season, if anybody, because this is really hard. We saw almost half the pool get knocked out in week 1.
Yeah.
But if for whatever reason everybody from this point on rides whoever Oklahoma State is playing and the Pokes go 0-9, then we'll see. We could get to bowl season. We both had decent weeks on the picks. We both had a 3-2 week. That moves me up to 20-10 on the year. You're up to 17-13. So if you've been riding us so far this season,
You've won money.
We'll see if that continues.
Probably not.
TCU plays at Kansas State. The game is Saturday. There's no Friday games this week, which is going to be weird.
Sucks.
They play at Kansas State at 2:30 on Fox. TCU is favored by 1.5 on the road. The over-under is 57.5.
I almost want to pick Kansas State here because I think this is one of the games where I think I actually picked TCU to lose. I just want to know. I wonder how much is left in the tank for Kansas State.
Is this the dead cat bounce?
I think this might be for me. I'm going to take Kansas State in an upset.
I don't see them responding too well to what happened last week. And
It's fair.
I think TCU found what they needed to in the second half of that game. They roll that into Manhattan, and they start building back towards their goals of making the Big 12 championship. I'm going to take TCU on the road in this game. But that's a line that's not easy to pick. That's
a toss-up.
That's scary. It's a scary line. The Iowa State Cyclones hit the road at Boulder for a 2:30 kickoff on ESPN. Iowa State is favored by 4.5 points over the Buffs, with the over-under at 51.5.
Same thing. I think Iowa State's going to have a bounce-back game. I know Caden Salter, as good as he is, he's going to make some mistakes. I think Iowa State's going to be able to capitalize on that. So I do like Iowa State in that bounce back. I don't mind the 4.5. I think I'm okay with that. I would like it more at 2.5 or 3.5, but I think I'm okay with it being at 4.5. Plus, it's an afternoon game too. It's not a night game, which makes me feel a little bit better about that. So I'll take Iowa State there.
I think I like the Cyclones as well. I know I've picked them in pretty much every spot this year outside of Dublin. This is the type of game, though, that Iowa State's maturity seeps through, or the maturity that I think we all believe in, the maturity that Matt Campbell and their staff preaches that the team has. If that's true, if everything they say about that is true, this is the type of game where Iowa State goes out, bounces back, and wins by double digits. So give me the Cyclones. We'll both be on ISU for that game. Next up, Kansas hits the road against Texas Tech. This game's 6:30 on Fox. Tech is favored by 2 touchdowns, 14 points at home.
Yeah.
Over under 60.5.
I got to go with Texas Tech here. I mean, they played not even their best football, and they went on the road, back-to-back games by 20+. At home against Kansas, I know Jalen Daniels. I mean, that's probably going to be their toughest test that they've played against offensively against Jalen Daniels. So I will say that. So Texas Tech's defense is probably not going to dominate just from start to finish like they have been. I think Kansas will make it somewhat interesting, but I just don't see Kansas defense stopping Texas Tech at all. So I'm going to take the Red Raiders to cover that. That's a large spread, but I'm still pretty sure they're going to cover that.
I'm going to take the over, which if one hits, the other will most likely hit. But I see Tech winning this game. It might be 45-25 or 45-30, somewhere in that range. I think Kansas will be able to put up some points against a really, really good Tech defense. But like you said, this probably is the biggest offensive test that Tech will see this far. The problem is, for every score Kansas gets, I think they'll probably give up 2 or 3 of their own against Texas Tech. So there's going to be a lot of points by the Red Raiders. Give me the over. This next game, I already said it. I'm so intrigued by this one. BYU at Arizona, 7 o'clock, ESPN2. They should flip this. This game should be the Fox primetime game, and they should throw Kansas Tech over on ESPN2 if it's a blowout like we think. BYU's favored by 2.5 points on the road, with the total sitting at 47.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take BYU, and I feel pretty good about that one. I'm confident in BYU and their offense. I think defensively they're going to be able to slow down Arizona. Arizona playing at home makes a little bit of a difference, but that's a pretty small spread. I feel comfortable taking BYU in that spot, and I think offensively they found some new life with their passing game, so I think BYU is going to cover that.
Yeah, I don't think this is the best game of the weekend, but I think this is the game this weekend where we'll learn the most about both parties. Is Arizona legitimately a bowl team? Are they a 7-win team? Like they've looked at points this season, or are they just somewhat improved from last season and they haven't taken that big of a jump? Or is BYU the team of last year that we all saw win these close games, win in tough environments? We'll just have to see, but I'm with you. I'm going to take BYU in these games until they prove me that I shouldn't. So we're both on the Cougs. And then we close with the game of the weekend. And we were talking earlier about how there wasn't any late games this weekend. Well, boy, are we delighted to a treat with Arizona State at Utah, 9:15 ESPN, standalone game. There's probably other games on in other conferences, but who cares? This is not necessarily a win-or-go-home game in the Big 12, but man, if you lose this game, it's going to be an uphill climb. Salt Lake City is going to be jumping. It is going to be an incredible atmosphere for an old-time Pac-12 matchup coming over to Big 12 after dark. Utah, the home team, is favored by 5.5. The over-under sitting at 49.5.
Oh, man. God, it wouldn't shock me one bit at all to see Utah win this game. But I could also say the same thing for Arizona State. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to take just a cop-out one and just take the under in this game. I think Utah's defense is going to slow down Arizona State's offense. Arizona State's defense is pretty damn good too, and I don't know. Utah's offense is still so weird to me. I'm not really sure how I feel yet about them with Dampier. I know they played a lot better against West Virginia, which isn't saying much, but I don't know. I think I'm going to take the under in this game.
Mr. Big 12, Derek Duke, man of the people. Game of the week is taking the under, everybody.
I don't know.
Let that be your Mr. Big 12.
Yeah.
I'll make a case. Utah embarrassed in their biggest game so far in the Big 12. They got Texas Tech at home, 2 Big 12 title contenders, 2 college football playoff contenders. Utah totally rejuvenated their offense. They brought in Jason Beck from New Mexico, their quarterback who's electric, embarrassed at home. Well, guess what? They want this one back. They want another opportunity to say that we are here, we are in the Big 12, we are here to contend. And it's not going to happen. Give me Arizona State to win this game outright. I'll take the plus 5.5 just to be safe. That's too many points regardless. Kenny Dillingham, Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson find a way to walk out of Salt Lake City with a win and make a statement that, look, guys, it's not just Texas Tech. We're up there too. Give me the Sun Devils in Salt Lake City.
See,
you like that?
I wouldn't mind a pick either way. I wouldn't mind if you said Utah was going to win this game because I wouldn't be surprised. To me,
well, have a spine, man. You can't take the under in this game.
I got to take the under. I feel a lot better about the under because the thing is too with Arizona State, this is I don't know if it's their toughest environment. They played at Mississippi State and we saw what happened in that game.
Yeah, and they allowed those illegal cowbells.
They did.
Nonsense.
And then now they're going to go to Salt Lake City, which is not an easy place to play. So I wonder how they're going to react to that as a team. So that kind of gives me some pause. It gives me some concern there. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I want to pick this game outright. So I'm going to take the under. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle than anything else. I don't think we're going to see a ton of points scored in that game.
No, that's the smart play. And the point of this is to win. So I commend you for taking the smart play. Even if it makes you look a little soft on the surface. It was
a little bitch pick. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a little bitch pick.
I took the over for KU at Tech, so I'm just messing with you. But we want to thank everyone who was able to tune in to this episode of Bigger Than 12. We had some fun. We'll be back next week following a pretty good slate. I'm excited. I'm going to be on my couch watching this game, I believe, so it'll be a good day of watching Big 12 football. We hope that you join us next week here in the Channel Seed Studios. This has been Bigger Than 12, presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax.